You've probably been in this situation before. You're doing something that matters to you. Maybe you're reading a book you've been wanting to read, watching a movie you've been excited about, or having a conversation with someone you care about. And then your mind drifts. You catch yourself thinking about something completely unrelated. You weren't bored, you weren't disinterested, but your attention left anyway. This isn't about lack of focus or poor concentration. It's about something more fundamental that most people don't realize. Your brain doesn't stay engaged with things just because you care about them. Attention operates on different rules than interest does. And those rules don't always align with what you consciously want. Most people assume that if something is important to you, staying focused on it should be automatic. But that's not how attention works. Attention isn't a reflection of how much you care. It's a system that responds to specific types of stimulation, and caring isn't one of them. Your brain is constantly scanning for novelty, threat, or change. Those are the things that capture attention naturally. They're evolutionarily important. Noticing something new or different could mean opportunity or danger. But sustained attention on something familiar or predictable, even if it's meaningful to you, requires active effort. And that effort can only be maintained for so long before your brain starts to wander. Research into mind wandering shows that it happens most often during tasks that don't demand high levels of external engagement. If you're doing something that allows your brain to operate on partial attention, it will. It's not a choice. It's the brain's default mode kicking in whenever full attention isn't absolutely required. Let's say you're watching a movie you've been looking forward to. The plot is interesting, the visuals are good, you want to see what happens. But during a quieter scene, your mind shifts to something you need to do tomorrow. Or a conversation you had earlier. You didn't decide to stop paying attention. It just happened. And when you realize it, you've missed part of the movie. Or think about someone reading a book they chose specifically because it's relevant to their interests. They're a few pages in, they're engaged, and then suddenly they realize they've been reading the same paragraph 3 times without absorbing it. Their eyes were moving, but their mind was somewhere else. They care about the material, but their attention didn't stay with it. This is where the discomfort comes in. If your mind wanders during things you don't care about, it makes sense. But when it happens during things that matter to you, it feels like a failure. Like you're not truly interested, or like something is wrong with your ability to engage. But that's not what's happening. Your brain isn't measuring your level of interest when it decides where to allocate attention. Studies on attention and cognitive control suggest that the brain has a limited capacity for sustained focus. Even when you're motivated and interested, your attention will drift periodically. It's not a flaw. It's how the attention system is built. The brain can't maintain high vigilance on a single thing indefinitely without breaks, even if that thing is important to you. There's also the issue of internal versus external demands. When you're focused on something external, like a conversation or a screen, your brain is still processing internal information. Thoughts, worries, plans, memories. Those internal processes don't stop just because you're engaged with something else. And sometimes, they become loud enough to pull your attention away, even when you don't want them to. Here's the uncomfortable part. The things you care about most can actually be harder to stay focused on than trivial tasks. Important things carry emotional weight. They make you think about implications, outcomes, what they mean for you. And all of that extra processing creates opportunities for your mind to wander into related but tangential thoughts. If you're having a serious conversation with someone you care about, your brain isn't just processing their words. It's thinking about how you should respond, what this means for your relationship, whether you're being understood. Those parallel processes can pull your attention away from what's actually being said in the moment. You're engaged, but you're also distracted by your own engagement. Research into divided attention shows that people often overestimate their ability to focus on one thing at a time. Even when you think you're fully present, Your brain is managing multiple streams of information. And managing those streams means your attention is constantly shifting, even in ways you don't consciously notice. This doesn't mean you don't actually care about the things your mind wanders from. It just means that caring and attending are separate processes. One is about value and meaning. The other is about where your cognitive resources are directed in any given moment. And they don't always sync up the way you expect them to. The reason this feels so frustrating is that you're aware of it happening. You catch yourself drifting. You pull your attention back. And then it drifts again. It feels like you're failing at something that should be effortless. But sustained attention has never been effortless. It's always required active management, even when the subject matter is something you genuinely want to engage with. There's also the fact that mind wandering isn't always bad. Sometimes your brain drifts because it's making connections, processing information, or solving problems in the background. You're not fully aware of it, but that wandering serves a function. It's not always a distraction. Sometimes it's just how your brain works through things. This doesn't make it less frustrating when you miss part of a conversation or realize you weren't fully present during something important. But it does mean the wandering isn't a sign that you don't care or that you're doing something wrong. It's just a reflection of how attention operates under normal conditions. So if you've ever felt guilty or confused about why your mind wanders during things that matter to you, this is why. It's not about your level of interest or commitment. It's about the way attention is structured. And that structure doesn't automatically prioritize the things you value most. It prioritizes what's novel, urgent, or demanding in the moment. Everything else requires effort to maintain. And that effort, no matter how much you care, has limits.